In this section, we're going to learn how to make some statements that we call equivalent. What that means is that when you have two statements and their truth values are the same all the way down, they're equivalent. And they gave us an example of that. They want us to show that P or not Q and not P, if not P, then not Q are equivalent. So we have our P, our Q, our not Q. When we do P or not Q, okay, we're taking this column and this column, and we're doing or. One or the other is true. So we end up with true, true, false, true. Now let's look at if not P. So we're taking this column, then not Q. Okay, so we're going to this column. And remember, with if, then, order matters. If I start with a false, it's going to be true. If I start with a false, if I say it's a lie, it's going to be true. Okay, if I start with a true and end with a false, that's false. If I start with a truth and end with a truth, that's true. Now what we want to look at is those two columns. This one, we end up with true, true, false, true. And this one, we ended up with true, true, false, true. So what that tells us is those are equivalent statements. And that would be written with three little lines like this. Okay? I'm going to back up one slide. These are different ways you can write a statement. If P, then Q. This is the converse. If Q, then P. This is the inverse. Okay, so notice how they took if P, then Q and just put nots in front. If not P, then not Q. And this last one is called the contrapositive. Okay, so they left them in the P, Q order, but they put not in front of both. Okay, and it was if, oh, actually, they have a mistake on this slide. So let me fix that. I didn't catch that. This should be if Q, not P. So let me fix that real quick. Sorry about that. Should be Q first. If not Q, then not P. That's what it's read. So sorry, they had a typo. Now what's interesting about these is this one and this one are equivalent, okay? The truth tables for these two end up being equivalent. So in the next example, we're going to take a conditional statement and turn it into a contrapositive. So let's look at the next example here. All right, so it tells you that if P, then Q and its contrapositive are equivalent. So example 4A, it says write the equivalent contrapositive for if you live in Los Angeles, then you live in California. Now remember, to do the contrapositive, I'm going to switch them around and put not in front of both. So I would put the Q first. If you do not live in California, then you do not live in Los Angeles. You switch the order and put not in front of both. Those are equivalent statements and have the same truth value.